That's incredible. He just saw a nasty slider away that he thought was a ball. It didn't faze him. Electric quick hands. This guy, I just can't tell you. Words can't describe what he's done in the postseason. He's hit a ton of solo home runs. He's been everything for the Rays, and they need him to get on the board first. That's a fourth home run Gonsolin has given up this postseason. Here's Austin Meadows, strike one. And as we've talked about with regard to Arozarena, he seems to have the ability, John, to take any pitch out of any part of the ballpark. Yeah, it's amazing, Joe. I've watched. There's one into right. It's going to get down. Betts is over to cut it off, and Meadows is on with a one-out single. Obviously been part of a lot of postseason. Watched now a lot of postseason. I've never seen a guy miss a pitch or not miss a pitch, not miss a mistake. I mean, the first pitch that he sees is a slider that dots the outside part, borderline strike, right? You see him kind of shake his head, no big thing. And then the next one is right there, not as good, but I mean, are you kidding me? To go the other way speaks to how quick his hands are. I mean, and not just hitting a home run, but he hits that tarp out in right field, one on, one out, and a swinging strike on Brandon Lau. So Randy Arozarena just hit the buds, which means someone is winning tickets to opening day. You can too by tweeting Budweiser USA using hashtag #HitTheBuds and hashtag sweepstakes. At Budweiser USA, where you've got the player who is considered the best hitter for the Tampa Bay Rays, the guy at the plate now who led them in hits during the regular season, Brandon Lau, hitting 143 in the World Series and 123 in the postseason overall. Yeah, that's just amazing when you look at his regular season numbers. Kind of an out-of-body experience for Brandon this postseason. And, you know, we talked to Kevin Cash, and we asked him questions, and one of the questions is, who's the one guy you could see that needs to or could snap out? And he actually said Meadows. He liked the way he was swinging the bat, and Meadows right away checks in for a base hit, so his manager was on point with that one. 2 balls and a strike now on Lau. Gonsolin checks on the runner as Meadows back in hand first. 10 home runs for Arozarena. Part of the deal that happened in January between the Cardinals that had horrible production out of their outfield this year. The deal with Tampa Bay came over with Jose Martinez. And Jose Martinez didn't even end the year with the Rays, and this guy didn't come up until the end of August. Hit 7 home runs in the regular season. He flips that with 10 here in the postseason, and none bigger than that to give the Rays down in the series. What's amazing about him, he's not like he's expanding the strike zone and giving you many outs for a pitcher. He is making the pitchers think of him, like we mentioned before, like Barry Bonds would a series, and he is dominating this series. When you look at the offensive numbers for the Rays, if you were to blank that team name and you said, would this team have success in the postseason? I don't think anybody could have said yes. But then you bring up this guy's contribution and their pitching, that's why they're here. He just made his first mistake of the postseason. He spit on his own shirt. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Runner goes, and a foul straight back by Lau. Lau has just 3 hits in this World Series, 3 for 21, but all 3 have left the park. And all 3 have been to the left of center. Yet they plan to pull on the infield, straight away in the outfield for the most part. Meadows goes again on ball 4. It's in the dirt. And back to get it is Barnes. It's 2 on, 1 out. And more opportunity here for the Rays in the first inning. This is the slider, okay? It wasn't the sharpest slider, but it was outer third. He flicks at it. If he tries to pull that, he's out. But to speak about his hands and to speak about what he keeps doing is just not probable, and give that man a lot of credit. His story this year, based on what the Rays do, will be one of the most incredible ones because of how he started this year. Missing a lot of time because of COVID, putting in the work. Just by push-ups, yeah. He was doing, he reported 300 a day, whatever it is. Just like his first base coach does, 10 for every run scoring. Ozzie Timmons, push-ups. Old school. One out. The batter is Margot. And outside of a Rosarena, Margot has easily swung the bat the best. He's hitting 400 in this World Series. That's gotten his overall postseason average up to 296. Yeah, he has. You see the no home runs, no RBIs, but he's had a lot better swings. And the collective theme so far, if you're Tony Gonsolin, these hitters are coming to the box ready to hit. They're swinging at the first pitch. They want to get something going. They've done that in the first. Good pitch there, strike two. We've seen so many approaches by whatever lineup is in there really for each side. Whether it's NLCS or World Series, trying to make the starter work. Take pitches, get the pitch count up. They don't care about the pitch count with Gonsolin. He's not going to be around long. That's right. 0-2, the count. One out, 0-2. Just up. But what you can't let a team do if you're Tony Gonsolin is take away one year in the postseason that's the regular season. The chase percentage in the regular season, 51.8. In the postseason, it's only been 19.4. And again, different roles, not consistency in the rotation, bouncing around, probably contributes a little bit to that. 1-2 pitch is fouled back. Whether it's within a ball game or now within a series, Kevin Cash's Rays trying to prove that they do not go away easily. And they started perfectly so far and look for more as they jump on top after losing Game 5 2 nights ago. One-two is in the dirt. Well, the Dodgers, of course, and Dave Roberts, a lot of decisions to make in this game. They can win the World Series without winning 2 games in a row. Yeah, the Rays obviously cannot. They have to win these next 2 games. And what Dave's hoping, or was hoping, that he could get some innings out of Tony Gonsolin to not be forced, even though you've got a Game 7 in your back pocket with Walker Buehler, to use that bullpen today. Here's a 2-2. Fly ball into right center. Will slice now to Betts, who comes in, eyes the runners, and hands out number 2. Well, Tony Gonsolin has only thrown 7 2/3 innings this postseason, but he's given up 4 long balls. Freeman, Dansby, Swanson, Brandon Lau in this World Series, and now a Rosarena. And that one was a ball. I mean, that one you're going to look at and you're going to go, really? And in fairness, again, this is not making an excuse for a pitcher. He came into this postseason without pitching in a game in 17 days. And so part of that is you get a little bit out of rhythm. You pitch, you start a game, then you're in the pen a couple times. So he's searching for that rhythm you have every 5 days as a starter, and it's what you know. It's become a little difficult for him here, obviously, with the scenario in the postseason. If Dave Roberts was itching to get Gonsolin out of the ballgame with the left-hander Alex Wood ready in the bullpen, this would have been a spot. But after getting that out, left-handed hitting third baseman Joey Wendell gets to deal with Gonsolin, and Wood stays in the bullpen for now. Ball, 1 strike. John, you said it 2 nights ago that after that crushing defeat, 4 for the Dodgers. An uplifting win for Tampa Bay in Game 4. The best thing for the Dodgers was they were the away team and they jumped on top in a blink. And now, facing elimination, the Rays have scored in the first and have a chance for more. So they know their formula has worked all year, and that has been, look, it's simple. They've hit a ton of home runs. They've struck out a ton. They've walked. But what they do is defend and run prevention about as good as anybody when they're given the position late in the game. And that's what Kevin Cash is hoping for, and he was hoping for a little bit of cushion so that he could give his starter the opportunity to pitch as many innings as possible. Wendell trying to add to this first inning. Gonsolin wants it to end. Now he steps off. Rosarena sits over there like he's been doing this for the guy's a rookie. I mean, it's amazing. I'm blown away by him. He has been easily the best player in the postseason for all teams combined, of course. Corey Seager's not too far behind. 16 teams got into this tournament. 2 are left. Top seed from the AL against the top seed from the NL. Wow. That is jamming somebody and full turn, hitting them off your leg. And not even wincing when you know that absolutely crushed him. This is a cutter in that he fouls off his knee. I guess if you're not going to wear gloves, I expect this kind of stoic, didn't bother me. And usually the next pitch goes right back in there. He walked it off, I don't know how, and is ready for another 1-2 from Gonsolin. They slide it down, and it would be dirty if they choose to go with it. And a changeup gets him down and in, but Randy Arozarena gets another. Unreal. 10 this postseason, 3 in this World Series, and the Rays on top in Game 6. tradition of Cuban baseball that dates back to the late 1800s. And he is the latest star to come from Cuba. And man, are the Tampa Bay Rays glad to have him. Here's the Dodgers lineup. Mookie Betts leads it off. Corey Seager, then Justin Turner. In the middle, Max Muncy, Will Smith, Cody Bellinger. In the back end, Chris Taylor, A.J. Pollock, and Austin Barnes. Against a left-hander, 27 years old, 6'4", 225, Blake Snell.
Yeah, he's been awesome and really has a chance to quiet the power of this Dodger lineup.
Oh. It's down to Betts for ball one.
And Mookie really has struggled for whatever reason this year against left-handers and in the postseason. He has struggled, not in his career, but for some reason this year just not locked in against lefties.
1 ball, 1 strike as that catches the mask of Zunino. Betts has been good with the bat. He's been phenomenal in the other phases of his game. His defense in right, his base running, stealing bases. He's had some hits. He's got just the 1 home run, and he's hitting .227 in this World Series.
Yeah, the only uncharacteristic things I've seen out of Mookie is the fact that he's swinging and missing a little more than we used to see him. Strikeouts are up. And you mentioned his average, but boy, does he cause pressure in every other aspect of his game.
2-1. 2-2. The Dodgers have been calling this ballpark, which I keep saying is beautiful because it is, home for exactly 3 weeks. The first game against the Padres was on October 6th, and here we are 21 days later. Beat San Diego 3 straight, beat the Braves in 7, lead the Rays 3 games to 2, and a strikeout starts the night for Snell. Seager will step in, answer 6 questions about tonight's matchup between the Rays and the Dodgers, and you can win $25,000. It's easy, free to play, so download the Fox Bet Super 6 app. There's still time to get your picks in for tonight's game, and you can play Fox Bet Super 6 for every World Series game. Will this be it, or will we reconvene here tomorrow night? Here's Seager. A strike hits the inside corner.
Seager's got that little wiggle with his hands, a timing mechanism, but everything else is pretty quiet. And right now the ball looks huge. He chokes up just a hair on the bat. Has such control of the strike zone right now. And what I meant about Snell being able to neutralize the left-handed powers is because he has the weaponry to do it. There's the curveball, the sliders. When it's on, it's as hard as anybody can't hit it. So for the Rays, they're going to want the left-handed power of the Dodgers to go quiet tonight.
How about that start for Snell after his teammates got him 1 back-to-back strikeouts? The batter will be Turner. You were talking about the 2-out production in the open. Turner will bat with 2 down. The stats didn't fire, but we will give them to you. As Betts strikes out, it's followed by the strikeout of Seager. But what the Dodgers have done with 2 outs this postseason is absolutely, it's unheard of.
No, it is unheard of. You're talking about doing it against an array of so many different pitchers and power pitchers. It is difficult to get a clean inning against the Dodgers, and that's what Snell's trying to do the first inning. I mean, honestly, I try to make the comparisons so someone can understand. You go into Coors Field, and you can't get 3 clean outs. It's hard. That field's huge, the ball carries, and that's kind of what the Dodgers bring to every game, a Coors Field type feeling where, all right, looks like it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning, and then they snatch it. So here we are, 2 strikes and 2 out. And with 2 out this postseason, 59 total runs, by far the most ever in a single postseason, 4 games.
The average with runners in scoring position, phenomenal. And how about that last one? 2 strikes in this series with 2 out, hitting .366, 4 home runs. That's inside for ball 1.
Yeah, that last one is the one that gets you. That's the one you sit there and game plan all day for. Get them the 2 strikes, spin the breaking ball, and you got to get the one they want. Right now, you can see Blake Snell has great feel for every pitch. He's thrown every pitch in this inning that he has.
He struck out the side. You can't do it any better. Good start, Snell, and Rays up 1 after 1 in Game 6. Brought to you by Camping World, making RVing fun and easy since 1966. And before the second inning, a reminder, don't forget, download the Fox Sports Samsung 5G View app for an all-new immersive fan experience. Available exclusively on 5G-enabled Android devices. 1-0 on the home run by Arozarena. Bottom 3 for the Rays in their lineup here in the second against Tony Gonsolin.
This is the guy for the Rays. If there's ever a shot to get going with the bat, and the lower part of the lineup hasn't had much production, their fearful leader and joyful leader has to get going at the plate.
Oh, no, that's Willie Adames first up. Up on the count here, 2-0. He's hitting just 176. There are 3 exceptions with the average in the lineup for the Rays. Otherwise, it's a lot of averages well under 200 so far in this series. That's off the end of the bat. Choi 143, Meadows 154, Lau 143, Rendell 133, Adames 176, Zunino 0.
And that's what I'm saying. If you saw those numbers and no one told you what the series results were, you'd say that team had to have gotten swept. But not only are they not swept, they found a way to win an incredible game. And then Snell's game was pitched great. They actually won that game pretty easily, and that they're hoping that formula gets repeated tonight.
Two from Gonsolin and struck him out looking. Three strikeouts now for the Dodger right-hander. Tonight's telecast sponsored by Ford, built Ford proud. By Indeed, upload your resume today. And by Steal a Base, Steal a Taco, only at Taco Bell. The National Medal of Honor Museum Foundation is on a mission to build a world-class museum amid the complex of the three sports stadiums here in Arlington, which will honor the fewer than 4,000 brave individuals who have earned our nation's highest award for valor in combat. The ties between baseball and the U.S. military span more than 150 years, and it will be on the other side of the old ballpark, which is right next door. Count's going to 2-0 on Kevin Kiermaier, as it was on Adames to start the inning.
Yeah, see, these are the counts you have to make work. When they get behind, with the exception of Rosarena and maybe Margot, the numbers really are against them.
Kiermaier trying to unload. He's been one of the bright spots, hitting .375. 6 hits, 2 of them home runs in this World Series. That is hard hit into right. It is over the head of Betts, bombs the wall. Betts gets it back in. That is a go-out double by Kiermaier.
That's it. That's what the Rays have to do when they control the count. And now they've gotten some production out of the bottom part of their lineup, whereas the top of the lineup is going to come up and have a chance with the runners in scoring position if there's 2 outs. Of course, can change that if he can get a hit with runners in scoring position.
Third hit for the Rays, second extra base hit, and here is Zunino 0 for 13. But we've said it every time he stepped to the plate, it feels like. Certainly in the LCS and earlier this postseason, not a lot of hits, but he made them count. Including a home run in Game 7 against the Astros in the League Championship Series, Ball 1.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to get the ball in the air, and you can tell that by his swing. That's why he's had a lot more swings and misses than normal. But if you keep a ball middle in, if you make a mistake in the middle of the plate, he definitely has the power.
There it goes down the line, but foul. Just tattooed.
And that was the mistake. That was not supposed to be there. And unfortunately for Zunino, he wasn't able to keep that fair. Watch where this pitch is. See how it goes middle in? That is his nitro zone, and you just got to keep the ball out of there. Because now when you get a strike or 2 on him, you can expand the zone. He's not going to walk very often. He wants to swing.
Good speed on with Kiermaier. 1 out and a 1-1. 2-1. We've got Barnes behind the... Barnes will be back there again tomorrow night. Barnes has kind of taken over the Buehler starts and has always been the catcher for Kershaw. One pitch. 2-2 as he fooled him.
See, that changeup that Gonsolin has is a great weapon. He can throw it in various locations. It's a split change. Comes out like a fastball and then just kind of disappears. When you're hunting fastballs like Zunino is, you're going to miss a lot of those if they're thrown in the right spot in the zone.
full count.
And that's a win for Zunino to get to 3-2. If you make quality pitches the way that he's been swinging the bat, you're not getting to 3-2. Now he feels like he's got a fighting chance. But remember, on the other side, if you're Tony Gonsolin, you don't necessarily have to throw a strike here. If you make it close, he's going to swing. That's what you got to tell yourself.
Struck out 7 times. Among that 0 for 13, here's a 3-2 pitch. Just got a piece. Rays have pieced it together all season long, had the 11th best average in the American League at 238. Led baseball the most strikeouts by their hitters. They had the best record in the American League at 40-20 and won the AL East for the 3rd time in their franchise history by 7 games over the Yankees. They know how to make the most of what they get. Here's another 3-2 from Gonsolin. And that is missed, I guess, or it was tipped. The way Barnes reacted is maybe Zunino missed it. Kiermaier took off for 3rd, but it's a foul ball. Let's take another look.
High changeup that he catches the top half of the ball, and it had that spin on it. I mean, he hits the absolute softest way you can with that big swing, but it did not hook. It did not stay fair.
But that might have come back and hit the catcher instead. It just stayed right there in front of the plate and spun foul. And the 8th pitch of this at bat. Struck him out. 2 down. And 4 strikeouts for Gonsolin. Back to the top in G-Man Choi. First time that Choi has hit leadoff this postseason. Started 7 games in the leadoff spot, all during the regular season, and hit 115 in that spot. But Cash trying to change it up and give a different look to this lineup. Now asks for a big 2-out RBI hit. Everybody has been enamored with the athletic ability and how nimble this big guy who is 6'1", 260 has been so far this postseason. He can really move.
It's been amazing to watch the transformation of his defense, and that's why he gets more playing time, because the defense was the biggest problem until the Rays got a hold of him.
1 ball, 1 strike is starts to get loose for the Dodgers in their pen.
Yeah, when you go over your scouting reports and you look at the numbers, you're trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to do to get each guy out? Well, in this case, he's really good middle to down in the zone and down below the zone. So you saw that fastball up that he swung through and missed. You remember that. And if you get a chance with 2 strikes, you can utilize that as a weakness.
Kiermaier at second with 2 out. 1-1. 2-1.
What Tony did in the first at bat was utilize his ability to throw that changeup below the zone, thinking it was a fastball. Choi swung at it because he likes the ball down, and he wasn't able to get to it. Swung with the top of a couple changeups. Know who's on deck, and you'd rather have that guy lead off the next inning.
That would be a Rosarena. Right now, it's Choi. And here's a 2-1. That's foul. 2-2.
It's hard to pitch in this game knowing you're a pitch or two away from being taken out of the game. But that's kind of the situation that Tony, it's only, regular season game, this would be nothing. 1 run's nothing. Man on second. This is not a regular season game. And Dave Roberts looks like he's not going to let his right-hander go very long or get much more trouble.
You make no mistake. I mean, Dave Roberts is going for it tonight.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, he's got Walker Buehler ready tomorrow if he needs it. But he is going to unload if he sees a chance to take Game 6 and end it and leave his ace for 2021. Take on that man, Charlie Morton. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner at second, 2 out. Joy. Help. Full count.
The ball was inside. A good slider to tie him up. 2-2 would have been a chance to go up with a fastball and then maybe go follow it with a off-speed pitch. But now he's got it 3-2. You know he has a base open. He really doesn't want to have to face the next guy with first and second.
And he may not get the chance to. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and it's 2 on with 2 out. And we'll see if that's it for Gonsolin. He's picked up 5 outs, and he is finished. Rosarena is coming up, the biggest threat. The Rays lineup, the biggest threat in any lineup. Dylan Floro coming in, 2 on, 2 out, 1-0 Rays in the second.
Like what? We're talking thumping on the cut. What? Wait the cut,
Well, there was nobody on when Rosarena homered in the first inning. Now he's got 2 on. This is an early opportunity to really relieve the pressure on Blake Snell.
As great as Randy has been, runners in scoring position has not been his thing, which is weird.
Takes a strike. He's got 10 home runs and 14 RBIs this postseason. Dylan Floro is right into the heat here in the second. Kiermaier, a one-out double. Joy drew the walk, and that chased Gonsolin. Here's an 0-1. Strike two.
Changeup is the one pitch. He's been locked in against everything else. Changeups and cutters on the right-handed pitchers.
The very calm Rosarena swings, foul tips. Barnes collects, and the inning is over. What a job by Floro coming in. And on 3 pitches, dispatches Randy Rosarena. Good work by the Dodger right-hander. 1-0 after 1.5.
execute a guy's weakness, and they did it about as good as you can in 3 straight pitches. There's the changeup grip. High leverage situation right away for Mr. Floro, and he handled it brilliant.
Will Smith stands in the DH. That's down for ball 1. Smith with 13 hits this postseason. Had a 5-hit game against San Diego. So all these other games, just a total of 8. 1 home run this postseason. 2 in the postseason, 1 in the World Series, trying to lock in on Snell, and he's up on the count here, 2-0.
He's been much better this postseason, left-handed, off of left-handed pitchers, hitting 320. Right-handers really struggled. He's had a lot of good at-bats, but other than that 5-hit game, it's been far and few between for Will Smith.
2-0 pitch is on the outside corner. Barely. 2-1.
I always pitches because whatever they don't like, they're hoping they're going to get for their starter when you're catching. Obviously, Will's not catching today. He's DHing. Hitting, you want those same pitches that you may not agree for your starting pitcher when you go back behind the dish.
Yeah, from the guy that's breathing down your neck.
Yeah.
All night. That's Jerry Meals tonight. The count evens, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Another strikeout for Snell. 4 in the 5 outs he's picked up.
Well, here's what you're going to be seeing if you're the hitter. You got a fastball that comes at you with a curveball break of that. Now, that is a time of very little time to make up the difference between the two, and that is why he's on his game tonight. That's why he's so difficult. High fastball looks good, but then he'll drop that curveball right after it, and you don't have much time to decipher whether that pitch is going to break, stay in the zone or not. The reason I feel like Blake Snell is on his game, he has the touch of a changeup. He's not overthrowing and missing wild with his fastball, and he's already pounded his slider and curveball. So if you're the Rays, you're like, all right, this is the start we hope for. We can get some more runs, add some cushion, let him pitch 5 or 6 innings.
2 quick strikes on Cody Bellinger as he faces the 2018 Cy Young Award winner from the American League, Blake Snell. 21-game winner 2 years ago. ERA under 2 in 31 starts.
You don't even have to mess around here with 2 strikes.
Made it look easy. He has struck out 5 for 2. 3rd inning rolls in, game 6. Tampa Bay up 1. third inning, and here's the third pitcher of the night for the Dodgers. He's been very good with his stuff this postseason.
Yeah, funky mechanics and hard to hit if you're lefties, but that's what he's in to get.
Yep. And the hitter Meadows went around on that, according to the home plate umpire. At least went Meadows, then Lau, then Margot. If anybody gets on, another lefty, Wendell. Hence the lefty Wood in the count 1 and 2.
That's what Dave Roberts wants to do, is get through these three hitters, and we'll see what he does with the rest. I mean, he would.
Boy, that was filthy. It's 6 strikeouts for Alex Wood. And now 5 total innings, 1 down.
Of course, starter most of his career. You can see how funky he is to locate where the ball's coming. Slider down and away, nowhere close to the plate.
Brings in Lau. Brandon takes the ball outside. Wood is only 29 years old. Here's one that Wood has to field, has plenty of time to flip for out number 2. Which came up with Atlanta in 2013 and into the game here in the 3rd tonight.
Need to focus on the game? Hey Siri, turn on Do Not Disturb.
Working the heck out of that button this month.
Yeah, I bet. Mine just went to that. Is that possible? Off the TV?
Anything's possible, John. Don't you know that by now? Anything is possible.
That's what the Rays are hoping. They're hoping that they have the right mixture in these next 2 games to pull off an improbable year when you think about their offense. They left spring training, the second spring training. They knew their strengths. Every player knew their strengths, and they started off offensively really bad. Talking to Kevin Cash, like, I don't know where we're going to get our offense from. Well, then it kicked in with a bunch of homers and timely hitting, and it's carried through the postseason in a way that their stomachs, I don't know how they do it, but they're confident in these kind of games.
There's a strike to make it 2-1 on Margot.
2-1, 2-0, 1-run games. It's right up their alley because of who's coming out of the pen and the defense they play.
Here's one into right center field. Bellinger to his left makes a nice running grab. The first 1, 2, 3 inning put up by a Dodger pitcher. It's game 6 of the 116th. force a Game 7. That year, John was...
I don't know, blacked out.
That year, 1991.
That year doesn't. Yeah, it was 1991.
It forced, one of your best efforts the next night. It was
epic Game 7.
Taylor hits a knock into left center field, and the Dodgers have their first runner of the night. Breaking ball at home, and Taylor shot it to the left of Adames. Leadoff man is on, and Snell says, no problem.
Taylor needed that. He had been in a swing and miss mode. Getting a hit right there and feeling it off the bat's got to feel pretty good for him. And when you look at these two lineups, from the bottom of this lineup, a lot more production. That's why the Dodgers have been collectively tougher offensively than the Rays have.
We'll bring in A.J. Pollock. If you had to put money on it, unless Pollock just has a great first half of this ball game, he is getting the start, but likely won't end the ball game in the lineup. Manager Dave Roberts looking for the right spot to get Jock Peterson in the ball game and Kike Hernandez, and that'll come once the bullpen brigade starts for the Rays.
Yeah, both them, especially that guy right there. He's been unreal this postseason, and he shows up in a big way.
First pitch is strike to Pollock, who hit 16 home runs in the regular season.
He lit up left-handers in the regular season. This year it's been the opposite in the postseason. He's had a much better time of it against right-handers than he has the left-handers, hitting 143 this postseason.
That's not good when you're splitting time with the lefty Peterson. That is chop foul, strike two. 9 for 4 in the series, 9 for 39, 2 RBIs, but hitting 231 this postseason. Came up with Arizona in 2012, in his second year in a Dodger uniform. Five times on the injured list. Just trying to figure out a way to stay healthy and produce. And he did that this year.
I just feel like in this series, when you reach Game 6, the more nervous I would get if I was a pitcher, especially late as this game might get, is beating the shift. Nobody shifts more than these kind of teams and these hitters in this park. Someone's going to beat the shift at a crucial time, and it's going to be a painful memory for one of these clubs. It's just a feeling I've got. You can get away with it in Game 2, Game 3, but when you're on the brink of elimination or trying to win a World Series,
because just to ask you this and take it one step further, you see you get nervous as a pitcher later in the ball game, either trying to win a World Series or stave off elimination. The shift is dependent on how you're also going to pitch the hitter. And if you're nervous, you may not make the pitch you should make, and now you're giving up a hit where you wouldn't typically give it up.
That's part of it, correct. But I think that if someone's got something in their back pocket, I believe there's about 5 guys on each of these teams that could deliberately get a hit if they wanted to. And it's not necessarily right here. You can cover right here. I'm talking 6th, 7th, 8th inning when these come up, but the unintended, the accidental hit, when you make your pitch. But the shifts over the course of 162, and in this case 60 games, definitely play out in your favor, 100%. But that's an accumulation of games that don't have the magnitude that what these two teams are dealing with right now.
There are the numbers of why the shift is on, playing Pollock to pull. Taylor has not attempted a steal this postseason. 2 out of 4 during the 60-game regular season. And getting a lot of attention from Blake Snell. thing we haven't talked about, John, with these smaller crowds, about 11,000 in the ballpark tonight. These pitchers and the hitters can hear everything that's being yelled at them from the opposing dugout. Yeah, it's an unusual scenario, even though you're in this kind of cone of focus, a hyper-focus, because these games create that a regular season just really doesn't. That's hard to caught, Wendell. Reached out to grab it, one on, one out. Just speaking, when you mentioned that 1991, I mean, it was a dome. It was super loud as you watch this line drive really flush. It was so loud, you and I couldn't have a conversation on the bench. And I remember just being out on the mound and just this buzz. And it was a dull roar. That means you're doing your job. If it's a loud roar, that's when players, that's what we're missing here, right? The young players don't have that going against them per se. And it's an interesting dynamic that all the players have gotten used to. This is the only ballpark where many players have played in front of fans in 2020. And tonight, because of the weather was horrible today. It's in the 30s and rainy. The roof is closed. They told everybody coming in the ball wouldn't travel. Don't tell that to Rosarena. Found myself watching him in batting practice, and the line drives that he was hitting are unlike anybody else's line drives. And he makes a big outfield look really small. Right now it's Snell, one on, one out. And the 0-1 to the number 9 hitter, Austin Barnes, is in for strike 2. That's the pitch I've been most impressed with. In a pressure game, elimination game, sometimes you know you're going to have your fastball and slider go to, but it's that change-up touch pitch. He hasn't cut any of those. He's pitched that pitch about as well as you can. And again, mentioning about the Dodgers, if you are confined to throwing them fastballs, you're in trouble. Chopped to third, just little by G-Man Choi, 2 down. A big play to get a runner at second. This is where Mookie Betts has been at his best. He hasn't had the greatest postseason that we're accustomed to average-wise. We watch this play window as good as anybody. Mookie has been good with runners in scoring position. Choi has been really good at this, coming off the bag and making tags. In fact, went up earlier in this World Series into the air and tagged Mookie Betts going by. Well, it's Betts at the plate, tying run at second with 2 out. Betts struck out his first time. Takes a strike at 97. This is where you formulate your game plan as a pitcher. You know all the situations facing what they can do and what they can't. You save something for this exact situation when you're thinking about each hitter. All right, Mookie Betts in scoring position. Here's how I'm going to try to get him out differently than I would just leading off the game. Seven RBIs this postseason, a big one sitting out there right now with 2 out. Owen. Question will be for Blake Snell, does he save the curveball when he gets to 2 strikes? Sometimes you don't get to 2 strikes without using that pitch. Good take by Betts. 2-1. Zunino, we've talked about it, but we're in the 6th game of this series. He hasn't hit, but when anything has been in the dirt, he's turned himself into a wall back there. There's the curveball. Here's a 2-1 to Betts. 95 right down the middle and a 2-2 count.
That is just a product of Mookie looking for something else because he froze him with a fastball, as you mentioned, down the middle, trying to go away. Definitely do that before 2 strikes, but then with 2 strikes, you got to look for fastball and then adjust as a hitter. Most will tell you that's exactly what they got to do against a pitcher like Blake Snell.
Another strikeout for Snell. 6, and he's gotten benched twice. Dodgers strand their first with played 3. 1-0. Tampa Bay. Blake Snell is working here tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. He's been outstanding. Kind of picked up right where he left off from game 2. We just got to give him a little support on the offensive side.
Yeah, and you've been looking for that really all postseason. Amazing. I'm sure you don't get tired of talking about it. Randy Arozarena just flicking that ball out to right. He looks like he's been doing this his whole life. He's a rookie.
It's some kind of special. No words can describe it. He's picked us up in so many ways, and hopefully the rest of the guys can get on his back, because we've been on his back the entire postseason, I think.
Would love to get going.
Yeah, no doubt. He will. He's going to come up with a big hit with some guys on base here eventually, and I think that'll just kind of release and take some pressure off of him.
Did you know you're the first man to play in the Little League World Series, play in the College World Series, Florida State, and manage in the MLB World Series?
I had heard that.
No, that's not true. You're being humble. Hey, thanks for the time, and thanks for being so gracious throughout this entire postseason. You're fun to cover, and good luck to you, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
All right, 1 out, nobody on here in the 4th inning. 1-0. Rays lead, and now 2 out. Second strikeout for Wood as he works his second inning.
Wood has been nasty, and so has Blake Snell. When you're in rhythm, you don't mind pitching in a 1-0 game. I'm telling you, most pitchers will tell you, if it's tight for about 4 or 5 innings, perfect. Then add on. And then it just feels like a goal that it's a 7-run lead. Kevin, and this type of score, this type of game was going to be the toughest to manage. I know the game has changed a lot in the short time, John, you've been out. Yeah.
But I feel like you would have liked playing for Kevin Cash.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. I mean, anytime a manager feels and knows how hard the game is, and really has the heartbeat of his club and believes in his players, you can't help but want to do everything you can for that kind of manager.
And these guys all feel that way. Kevin Cash is a big reason why the Rays are playing the 6th game of the World Series.
Yep.
Alex Wood is a big reason why this has remained a 1-run game. 2 perfect innings put up by the Dodger left-hander. 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up. That means Corey Seager up first. In this World Series, Seager, in my mind, is leading that race. Kershaw, Turner, Muncy for Tampa Bay. Rosarena, and who else?
Could be Blake Snell if he keeps striking out the world.
Yeah, good point. He has struck out 6. Seager up there ready to hit. Fouls it away to strike 1.
Tough matchup for Seager, but he hasn't seen anybody that has been too tough on him in the postseason. This will be the toughest. The angle of which Snell throws the breaking ball that he has, really tough for the left-hander to pick it up. It looks like when he delivers, he's going to dip that front shoulder, but he does a great job staying in balance. You'll see that Blake Snell has such an electric fastball. It comes out of the backside right here. A little dip, and then he wham. That's how he gets so much arm speed. The problem with it is if you're off just a little bit and you leap too quickly towards home, that's when his stuff gets average. But that hasn't been the case tonight.
1-2. Abe Jurasensky and the Sports Radar crew helping us throughout this postseason. Gives me a card that says the ERA by inning for Blake Snell, regular and postseason, innings 1 through 3, 0.90, including tonight. 7.24 ERA from inning 4 on. His stuff tonight just looks different. Yeah. And a strikeout is number 7 on the night.
So before this batter, this is how he got his strikeouts, and he did a good job of mixing it up. A changeup, fastball, and he had 4 strikeouts with fastballs. And as I said, if you don't get the secondary pitches all over, you're not going to be able to throw the fastballs. There's the breakdown. And for Blake Snell, he has been on attack. He has thrown strikes, and here's the breaking ball for the last one. Got to neutralize the left-handers for the Dodgers, and he has.
One out, nobody on. That skips in there for ball 1. And that's always kind of the other side to the analytics. That's all history. You know, the ERA, innings 1 through 3 compared to 4 on. This is now. And right now, Blake Snell is as good as any pitcher you'll find walking the planet the way he's thrown.
And you know the biggest key about everything that he's done? 45 pitches. So you can throw that right out the window when you get to the third time through the lineup. I get it what this is over the course of 162, or in this case 60. Look, sometimes your eyes will win out. And the hardest part about Kevin Cash's job is he's got tremendous arms in the pen. And the eagerness to get to it probably is in his forefront of his mind. He's worked out 20 scenarios. Before this game was played, they worked out at least 20 different scenarios of what if this guy comes up, this is what we want to do. Sometimes, as a starting pitcher, you can eliminate 10 of those or 15 of those and make it a little easier on your manager if you're dealing.
You asked him what will be the toughest decision, do you think, tonight when we talked to him 5 hours ago?
You're staring at it. It's 1-0 in the 4th or 5th is what he said.
2-2, and he said, you know, if I know that Blake has got more to give, but I need a big out with a certain matchup, and he's got Castillo or somebody else ready to Fairbanks in the bullpen, that's going to be the hardest decision if he knows that Snell has more gas in the tank.
Yeah, because he doesn't have any room for error, right? He's down 3 games to 2. He needs to force a game 7.
He's just tying these Dodger hitters in knots. That is strikeout number 8, out number 2. And the inning will continue from Muncy. Tonight's telecast sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. And by MasterCard.
Blake had in game 2 was the best he's had since the second half of his Cy Young season. Tonight, it's even better. And what he liked especially about the matchup of Snell against this Dodger lineup is that Blake has more weapons than any other Rays pitcher. 4 to right-handed hitters, 3 to left-handers. And he's landing all of them tonight. The hitting coach for the Dodgers, Robert Von Scoyoc, told me hitting against Blake Snell is like playing chess. And right now, Blake is controlling the middle of the board with all of his pitches. I have not seen the Dodgers take as many off-balance swings in the whole postseason as I've seen tonight. And just to give you an idea, Joe, on a slider especially, Mookie Betts, until the World Series, had swung and missed that one left-handed slider all year. He's missed 2 from Blake Snell.
And he has struck out twice. Top 3 in the lineup, 0 for 6 with 6 strikeouts. Here's a 2-0 to Muncy, and it's 2-1.
But Blake has shown that ability to mix and match in the strike zone and then the kill switch, like throwing it out of the zone with 2 strikes. He's not messing around. That's why he only has 52 pitches. And the ability that he has to hit with his secondary stuff is similar to what the Braves were able to do to the Dodgers the first 2 games of the previous series.
He falls behind, he comes right back and evens the count. 97, too much for Muncy there, 2-2.
Max Fried threw the most curveballs, breaking balls he had ever thrown, and it was successful in game 1. Now, it didn't turn that way for the second time. And facing Blake Snell this time, the second time, he's been even better. And that changeup, I think, has been such a big weapon tonight that it's really messed with the Dodgers. You can see, whenever you jump off the mound like that, you realize you have tried to throw the very best breaking ball you can, and he was frustrated because whenever he's been willing to pull somebody away, he made that pitch. This one didn't give Muncy a chance. Blake knew it.
Struck out the side. 9 in the ball game. Pitch count is down. Velocity is up. So are the Rays' hopes. Stay tuned for the 5th inning giveaway from T-Mobile, the leader in 5. Zunino, and that's strike one. Zunino, then Choi, then Arozarena.
Well, Baez is in there because he can throw that pitch, that changeup again. We've seen the neutralizer against Arozarena with the changeups out of Floro, and now you got the Baez changeup. No.
He can also get it up there in the mid-90s. That fastball missed. G-Man Choi is on deck. Here's a 1-1 to Zunino.
He slipped and threw a gem. That was, you don't see that very often. He let go of it and then just kind of rolled on his spike. But he got away with a fastball that typically is at 95. He threw it 89 because he didn't have his footing.
Once he walked a couple steps in to make sure Baez was okay, and now the 1-2. A strikeout starts the inning. And they bring in the big leadoff man, 6'1", 260, but he can move as he has proven night after night. All right, 1 out, nobody on, and Choi 0 for 1. His walk, as he pops it up, that's an easy second out. His walk chases starter Johnson, and since then, the bullpen from Floro to Wood, now Baez, has been perfect. And Arozarena will walk in. He is homered and struck out. Here's Ken Rosenthal.
Well, Joe, the Rays were on Arozarena early. His first spring training in the United States, the spring of 2017, a Rays scout named J.D. Ellaby filed a very favorable report on him. Tyler Storr, another Rays scout, backed that up with an equally glowing report after seeing Arozarena in A-ball in the Florida State League. As time went on, the Rays, in watching film of Arozarena in the Cardinals system, noticed that he started to make more contact, and as he started to make more contact, he was hitting the ball harder. They viewed him as a premium athlete with emerging baseball skill. They believed he could develop into a solid regular. They never expected this.
He's just 25 years old, born in Havana. And when you look at his minor league numbers, it's not like he didn't hit. I mean, it's not like this has come totally out of nowhere, but at this level, at this time of the year, his home run back in the first inning, the only run of the night, his 10th of the postseason, as he continues to add to all of these postseason records he is racking up.
He just isn't jumpy, and obviously you can't be if you're going to hit 10 home runs and hit with the average he has this postseason. Even the pitches that he's tracked that he thought might not be a strike, he comes right back if they throw it close to that area And the only pitch he has really struggled with is a changeup. Not everybody on the Dodgers has that kind of changeup. Pedro does, however.
Rosarena sitting on something here with a count of 2-1, and he takes a strike. He didn't like the call. His last year in the minor leagues, John, in Springfield, he hit 309. Memphis hit 358. With the Cardinals at the end of the year, hit 300. Gets traded, and now he's got just about every hitting record, total bases, hits, and home runs in a single postseason. Here's a 2-2. Hard hit, another hit. A 2-2 pitch, and Randy Arozarena is going to make people in the Cardinals front office turn off their TV.
Yeah, he got a high changeup right there. Lucky that ball stayed on the ground and not the air. And he won't be at first base long. He's got to steal second against Baez, and he may not even get a chance. They're going to take him out, but just another hit.
Baez is gone with Meadows coming up. And a pitching change here in the fifth inning as a left-hander, Victor Gonzalez, comes into the ballgame.
Stays in to face a left-hander Gonzalez. The only thing you got to tell yourself if you're Gonzalez, don't leave a fastball or anything middle to middle in against the left-hander. Everything should be away or up, and you'll be okay based on the scouting report.
That is a ground ball to the right side, and to the stands is Taylor to make the play out in shallow right. One pitch, the end at the top of the fifth. Bottom half rolls. First 4 innings of a ball game, the other Sandy Koufax in '63. World Series Game 1 against the Yankees. That was a championship season for the Dodgers. Here is Will Smith trying to bunt his way on. And he fouls at strike 1. The Dodgers franchise has won 6 World Series, 55 in Brooklyn, then moving to LA in 58, 59, 63, 65, 81, and then 88, 32 years ago. A 1 pitch to Will Smith, one of the 9 strikeout picked up tonight by Snell. Joan Hodges, widow of the late great Gil Hodges, the powerful, graceful first baseman, and the beloved leader of one of baseball's most beloved teams, the Boys of Summer. Dodgers in the 1950s. Joan lives in the same house in Flatbush, Brooklyn, that she shared with Gil, and Joan watches all of these games, rooting for the Dodgers. So, hello. And who knows how this one's going to end up, Joan, or Dodger fans, or Ray fans. Well, you know, this game reminds me so much of, although be at the LCS, the game that Steve Avery pitched on the road against the Pirates, 0-0 in the ninth, he wins 1-0, trying to give us a chance to pitch Game 7. And I said there's a comp, you know, that Avery and Blake Snell. And when you're in a game like this, Blake Snell does not, I bet you he knows consciously what the score is, but he absolutely knows that he's in a rhythm, and the score, he's comfortable. It's 1-0, but he's completely comfortable because he's in command of everything. One umpire Jerry Meal says, that's low. Ball 1 to Bellinger. He struck out his first time and missed. Whoop. Incoming. Wasp. Hopefully it's not a murder hornet. But it is 2020. And by the way, Cody missed the wasp. Wouldn't want to make that thing mad.
No, definitely not.
1-0 pitch on the way, and a pop-up down the left field line. That will get out of play.
One ball, one strike. But just to finish up that point, when you're in a game like this, you're not thinking, oh, one swing ties it up. You're thinking, they're not getting a hit off me. And if they're not getting a hit off me, they're not going to score. And I know that Blake Snell knows that chances are he's not going to be given the opportunity to go 8 or 9. But if he can pitch 6, maybe 7, that allows Kevin Cash to turn it over to his flamethrowers in the pen. But hard for me to take him out anytime soon, that's for sure.
1-1 pitch is fouled back. The last time Blake Snell went a full 6 innings was July of 2019.
He had some injuries, of course, that he's been dealing with. He wasn't completely right to start this year. And he mentioned to us that it wasn't until recently that he feels he is really where he should be. September, something clicked late September for him.
2-2. I mentioned Joan Hodges. Do you know who her nephew is?
I do not.
Yeah, you know him.
I probably will once you tell me the name.
He's on our crew. Him.
Really?
Tom Verducci.
Oh.
And we don't have his mic open. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 1 out. Nobody out. And it grounded its finger, and that's out number 2. Say hi to your aunt, Tom.
Yeah. Shout out to Aunt Joan. The best. Love you.
I mean, who knew?
I did, and now I do. That's locked.
I got to tell you,
in my memory.
If Joan Hodges was my aunt, you'd know that Joan Hodges was my aunt. It'd be one of the first things I'd say. Here's Taylor with 2 out, nobody on. Chris has the only hit, the only base runner tonight. He hit a hanging breaking ball into left center field for a single leading off the third, and then was stuck at first. He homered off Snell back in game 2. And that was kind of the beginning of the end of the night for Blake, who did not win.
And I'll bet he'll go to his slider before he goes to his curveball again against Taylor.
Or just work the corners at 95 as the count evens 1-1. Back in that third inning tonight, the single, Pollock hit a rope caught by the third baseman Wendell. Barnes grounded out, and that moved Taylor down to second, and Mookie Betts struck out. So the Dodgers have had a man in scoring position 0 for 1 tonight, and that was Betts. That's inside, 2-1 on Taylor. When you've got John Smoltz saying wow over a live pitch, you're pitching well. 2-2.
It's just smooth, and everything in this mechanics is right on point, right? It's the same thing when a hitter's hot. There's no in between. Really, he's only made 1 bad pitch, and that was the single he gave up to Taylor.
Every time a ball hits the dirt, it's gone. Did you want to use a baseball that touched dirt when you were pitching?
Oh, yeah. I got a funny story I'll tell you. You can't tell it now. It's 2 strikes, 2 outs.
But, I mean, if it touches, it's gone. You're out of the game.
That progressively has happened over the years, of course.
Here is a 3-2 pitch. And a check swing. This is his night so far, huh? 5 innings in the books. He's allowed 1 hit, no runs, struck out 9. He and the Rays lead Game 6, 1-0. On the home run by Rosarena in the first inning. And Gonzalez back to work, and hammering at the first pitch is Lau, strike 1.
So you asked about the ball.
Yes.
I got a ball after a ground ball. Perfect spot on the left panel of the baseball, the scuff mark. And like golf and like baseball, the ball goes the opposite way of a ball that's scuffed up. I think I threw 7 consecutive pitches that were swings and misses. I just kept throwing a split after split. Chipper was young then. He was playing third base. Little ground ball foul. He picked it up and threw it in the stands. I almost fought him on the field. And he was like, "What are you doing? What are you talking about?" I said, "Don't ever throw a ball away. Make them throw it away." Last time he threw it in the stands.
Using a scuff mark to your advantage. Nothing to the count on Lau, who was 0 for 1 with a walk and a comebacker against Alex Wood, who was great.
Yeah, Wood was great. He creates that unique angle that the Rays have utilized in their whole pen. Gonzalez, a converted starter. Put him in the pen. They love his stuff. He's had to get some big outs this postseason.
That last one bounced in there, so Jerry Meals threw it back. Meals, the home plate umpire, is going to need to ice down after tonight's game. Brewstar Gratterall getting loose as there's another one in the dirt. Jerry. This time it's Barnes that throws the new ball to the pitcher and the old ball to the dugout. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Will Margot and Joey Wendell the next 2. Two. Good pitch by Gonzalez, 1 away. And the batter will be Margot. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by T-Mobile, your ticket to the game with America's largest 5G network. And by Dell Technologies, when it comes to your business, we'll stop at nothing. The fans have been great here.
Yes, they have.
The staff at this ballpark has been fantastic. This has been the perfect host city for the NLCS and now the World Series.
Sure has. And this game's not filled with nerves, by the way. This is filled with nasty pitching. We got to be headed towards an all-time strikeout record for a World Series game, I would imagine. And every arm that's come in, I had very little mistakes. And that guy right there is locked in. Probably won't look at the scoreboard one time. Doesn't need to.
In fact, as we play here in the top of the 6th, Dodger pitchers have struck out more Rays hitters than Blake Snell has against the Dodgers. Snell just went through a strikeoutless inning for the first time tonight. He has struck out 9 in the Dodger pitching. Gonsolin, Floro, Wood, Baez, and Gonzalez have struck out 10.
Yeah, the Rays have done a nice job, even though the offense has led the Dodgers to a 3-2 lead. Coming into the postseason, the Dodgers are one of the hardest teams in all of baseball to strike out. Well, not the case for the Rays. They were the easiest. But the strikeouts coming into this game were really close between both of the teams. That's foul. I think the Rays had a small advantage of the more strikeouts than the Dodgers by 4 or 5, but can throw a lot of that out the window if the Rays are able to try to figure out or piece together this gem and force a Game 7. Charlie Morton is in the position of hoping to benefit to pitch another Game 7 situation. He is on more pins and needles than Walker Buehler is because Buehler has the luxury of his team winning tonight and not having to pitch. So you're in that mode of kind of getting ready, kind of involved in the game, but not too much, stoic, waiting your turn if it's called upon.
It was like an ode to Fernando Valenzuela by Gonzalez as he spun. I didn't see him look to the sky, but he spun all the way around and delivered it low for ball 1.
Fernando and Louis Tiant.
And a new baseball. 1-2 on Margot, who is 0 for 2. I hope they brought a nice supply of baseballs here tonight.
I forget the number. Someone can look it up for us, but there's an unbelievable amount of dozens of baseballs that go through a game just for what you mentioned. You know, balls that are hitting play off the dirt, they don't stay in play very long unless you strike a guy out and he doesn't make contact on any of those. You get to keep the baseball.
Here's a 2-2 and a strikeout by Gonzalez. And that's 11 strikeouts of Rays hitters. But the story of the night, as we look at our game summary, is that man, Blake Snell. 5 innings, 1 hit, 9 strikeouts, no walks, low pitch count. And Arozarena doing his thing, and the Dodgers looking for their first World Series win since '88, 32 years ago. They're tired of hearing about it. This is the only run of the night with 1 out in the first inning. Arozarena with his 10th postseason home run the other way. It's down to Wendell, ball 1.
So here's the deal. When people are going to be sitting at home, and at some point Blake Snell is going to be taken out. And at some point in this series, when people have taken out certain pitchers, you sit there and go, why, how, what? It's not the physical tiredness. It's the mental tiredness. It's the mental grind of every pitch, attention to detail, in a 1-0 game that gets you a little bit more fatigue mentally. But there's not a physical tiredness, especially with the shorter season. There is a compromised season of making adjustments, but it's not your pitch 240 and at the end of your tank. So it won't be a physical issue. It'll be more of a mental issue of grinding on pitches in a close game that I'm sure Kevin Cass will be looking at.
And he's got weapons in his pen.
Correct.
I'm not trying to hide those guys. They feature him. Here comes a 1-1 pitch to Wendell. Strike 2. How about the work done by Floro, Wood, Baez, now Gonzalez? Combined to allow 1 hit. That was a Rosarena that chased Baez. 6 strikeouts over the last 3 2/3. Here's a 1-2.
Well, as long as the Rays have a lead, Kevin, I don't think will make many changes into his offense because he has the lead. If he was needing some rally or runs, I wouldn't think some of these left-handers would face a left-hander, but he has that 1-0 lead.
Two-2 pitch. Struck him out, and Gonzalez strikes out the side. And the hitters have been frustrated all night against the Dodgers. Their bullpen against Blake Snell. What a game. 1-0, Tampa Bay. park. Off the bat of Randy Arozarena in the first.
If you're the Dodgers, you're going to have to get aggressive early on the first pitch.
Out behind second base. Lau puts it away. One pitch. One out in the sixth. The batter will be Austin Barnes, the number 9 man. And now a quick word from T-Mobile, the leader in 5G coverage.
1 in 5 U.S. kids may not be able to afford to play next season. Together, we can help Little Leaguers in your community. Grab your phone and text, and T-Mobile will donate.
The reason I say that is because their MO has always been work the count, get deep. Well, guess what that did for them early on? There was a lot of strikeouts, and especially these two hitters I thought would be aggressive. Good pitch selection by Blake Snell on that first pitch.
Here's Barnes showing bunt, taking the ball high. We've already set a record for a World Series game through 6 innings. We're only in the bottom half of the 6th, with 21 combined strikeouts. 12 by Dodger hurlers, 9 by number 4, who finds the bottom corner of the strike on Barnes.
Yeah, he's done a great job jumping out early with all those strikeouts. You can still get a lot of outs without hitting the K-ball. And that would be the recipe for Blake Snell with nobody on.
Nick Anderson getting loose.
It's just amazing. The very scenario Kevin Cass was dreading out of 20 of them is kind of this one.
Here's one into center, and the number 9 man, Barnes, is aboard with 1 out in the 6th.
Yeah.
Man, you talk about a short leash. 73 pitches, 2 hits, 9 strikeouts. Snell can't believe it. As Kevin Cash said, these guys need short memories and thick skin, because this is the way we do it. We'll see how it works out. That is the reaction when he saw his manager coming to get the baseball as the Rays dip into their bullpen here in the 6th inning, up 1.
Congratulations. Welcome to the Aflac program. Now tell me, what does Aflac do?
Aflac pays you money directly.
Top of the order, and Nick Anderson comes into the game. His numbers very different than the regular season. Snell is now in the dugout watching after initially walking through the dugout and up the tunnel. As Mookie Betts, consider the fact that Snell held the top three hitters in this Dodger lineup tonight to 0 for 6 with 6 strikeouts. Yeah, general rules. Tell you right after this pitch. It's a 1-0 to Betts. 2-0. The conventional wisdom of any time you take somebody out that makes the other team happy that you took them out, the guy that comes in better be just as nasty. And they have that. They do have that. But in a series of 3 games to 2, we talked through this scenario with Kevin Cass, and he was not bashful in being able to tell us this was what he was going to do if the situation called for it. Here's a 2-0. Hard hit, down the line, hits the fence, digging for third is Barnes. They will hold him there on a double by Betts, and the Dodgers are in business in a blink here in the 6th. Fastball. Mookie Betts all over it. And these are the bounces down the line you're going to get with those fences. That's why the active infielders have to be all over the place. And an easy double. It could have been a nightmarish tie scoring scenario for the Dodgers. Adames got there. If he doesn't get there, slide and get to the ball, they may send Barnes. Betts is fighting back a smile as he comes over to fist bump his first base coach. And here's the thing. I know what you said, and we talked to Kevin Cash about this. This was his biggest worry, Snell having more in the tank. I don't think anybody saw 5 1/3, no runs, 2 singles, 9 strikeouts, no walks. And you said he was a tough matchup for Betts. He struck out Betts twice. And now Seager will dig in, and that's another tough matchup for the Dodgers, but they have to face now Anderson instead of Snell. You got a rhythm pitcher in rhythm in Snell. There was nothing that was going to change that unless you take him out, and you're hoping that your pitchers have that same rhythm that come in. Obviously, that's not the case, and this is a tough situation. You've got Turner on deck. Personally, I would not pitch to Seager, and I would pitch to Turner with the bases loaded. 1/2 dozen the other and play for the double play. But they're going to try to pitch to Seager with the infield in. Infield in and swung around to the right for Seager. Good pitch. Ken Rosenthal, your thoughts?
Joe, there's always a reason why managers make moves, and perhaps this was just as simple as 3rd time through the order. But it's difficult to understand, especially with the left-right situation they have. They could have gone through Muncy at least with Blake Snell.
Second and third. 1 out. And this one gets by Zunino. Tie game. Slider. It went the wrong way. And when it goes the wrong way, the catcher cannot be in that position. He's anticipating that ball to break a typical slider break, and it didn't. Now Seager, with any one of a number of things, can give the Dodgers their first lead of Game 6. Infield still in. Here's a play to play. Throw home to right. Dodgers lead. scores. And just like that, the Dodgers are on top by 1 in the 6th. And just like that, Mookie Betts was ready to run and scored on that ground ball. You can't have the normal defense in with Mookie Betts at third. This is not in enough. Mookie has shown you his ability to read, react, and go. That right there didn't even get it out. You're going to have to be, as a first baseman, jumping off that bag and getting towards home plate as the pitch is being made. He was flat-footed. And now, Nick Anderson's got to keep it right here. Still only 1 out as Seager reaches on the fielder's choice, gets the RBI. And Turner fouls it back, strike 1. I said it 10 times. It's not just the hitting of Seager and Betts. It's been the defense, it's been the base running, it's been being ready to take the extra base. And Kevin Cash has got to be sick with what's happened here after Snell came out, just after that single by the number 9 hitter Barnes. A double by Betts. A wild pitch for a run that scored Barnes. And a fielder's choice off the bat of Seager that wasn't even hit 90 feet that puts LA on top for the first time tonight. And you know Snell is pleading his case in the dugout. Frustrated he was taken out. Nope. Well, there's something about this game and the psyche of this game when hitters will tell you all you need to know about the dominance of another player. It doesn't always have to be body language, but they know that that pitcher on the mound has the edge that moment, in that given moment. And when he gets taken out of the game, you intuitively think, thank you, we now have a chance. And it certainly played its place right out here in this inning. Turner hits one into left. Back at the wall. It is caught on the warning track as Turner just got under it. And a loud second out here in the 6th. And here comes Kevin Cash. Gonna make another move. And Turner knew it. So with Max Muncy coming up, 2 runs in, the first Dodger lead of the night. Snell out of the ball game. Mookie Betts smiling. Another pitching change for Tampa Bay.
Tonight, I'll be eating a veggie cheeseburger on ciabatta. No tomatoes.
Perfection in this postseason. Aaron Luke takes over, and Muncy takes a strike. Betts has stolen 6, but both he and Seager have been on their toes with anything in the dirt or on contact while they've been at third. Happened in the LCS, and it's happened again here in the World Series. They put pressure on his defense the whole series as the count goes to 0-2.
Yeah, this is just a baseball 101 playing that most guys haven't perfected. Well, Mookie Betts and his speed, but his reaction time and understanding the combination of both, reading the bat and knowing that your talents are just that far superior than the rest, and he just didn't flinch.
0-2. Luke brings it. Tom Verducci weigh in on what we've seen here in the 6th.
Well, that play there with Mookie, remembering game 1, they did not hold him on at third base, and he scored on the contact play. Even held on, he scored. But going back to that decision to have Anderson pitch to Betts, Mookie slugged just .218 against lefties. That was the worst in the major leagues. He brought in a right-handed fastball pitcher who had given up runs in 6 consecutive appearances in the postseason. It was a very curious move because of the matchup and because of the way Blake Snell was pitching.
Line on Snell, 5 1/3, 1 run, 2 hits, no walks, 9 strikeouts. Here's a 2-2 now to Muncy. Full count to the most patient hitter we've seen in October, Max Muncy.
Well, let's also credit the bullpen for the Dodgers, which at times has been a little shaky this postseason. They kept this game at 1-0. They've been equally as dominant as Blake Snell was for the Rays.
Runner goes on a ground ball to the right side of second. Adames makes the play, and the Dodgers lead. This inning will be talked about for a long time. Pitching change happened. Snell came out. Anderson came in. Dodgers went to work. Back after this from your local Fox station.
Council and DeFloro to Wood to Baez to Gonzalez. Now Brusdar Gratterall, the flame-throwing right-hander, who deals high at 102 for ball one to Willie Adames. So if you're Tampa Bay, it's a one-run game. Now you're down. All the momentum is gone. You got to get something here. Try and turn the tide. Gratterall was wild during his warm-ups, and he's run the count to 2-0 here with Adames.
Yeah, this is what the Rays have been made of all year. You just took a gut punch, and you can't let that affect you. And I'm sure that dugout is looking for that one player, that one moment, turn this game around.
Swinging on 2-0. And Adames is now 3 for 20 in this World Series. The Dodgers bullpen was good in Game 5. It's been great here tonight. And I could make a case of the two biggest outs the bullpen got in Game 5 were in the 8th inning by Victor Gonzalez, and he just left this ball game going an inning and a third, striking out 3. Here's a fly ball into left. Back to grab it is Pollock. And now 2 out, nobody on here in the 7th. Off the bat of Kiermaier, who's now 1 for 3. And before Zunino steps to the plate, a quick word from Lysol.
Major League Baseball is stepping up to the plate with Lysol to help protect the players chasing postseason dreams. Lysol, what it takes to protect.
I don't know if they're seeing something in the delivery of Gratterall. You and I saw the same thing during the warm-ups. He was all over the place, and he went 2-0 on Adames. He's got 2 out, nobody on, and Zunino coming up, and Mark Pryor went out to visit. Yeah, that can't be a scouting report. That has to be something that he wanted to make sure he remembered in his mechanics and what he was trying to do to locate his fastball. Well, Zunino's hit big home runs this postseason and almost walked right into that as it rode inside ball 1. Julio Urias is starting to get loose, who's been lights out this postseason. Urias, by the way, coming off a start in Game 4 when he struck out 9 over 4 2/3. That was a crazy game that ended up 8-7 on the game-winning hit by Brett Phillips. 1-2 on Zunino. The big catcher is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. That's into left field, and the tying run is on with 2 out, and the first World Series hit for Mike Zunino.
Yeah, I don't understand that pitch, but he just threw 2 fastballs completely by, and he threw them on slider, which allowed the bat speed to catch up, and the slider was right there. You can see he still reached for it.
Now with the left-handed batter coming up, are we going to get another pitching change?
I would think so.
Sure looks like it. Roberts is not motioned to the bullpen yet, but he just, it's a second visit, so he's gone. A quick visit with 2 out, nobody on from Mark Pryor. That means that this visit is the end of the night for Gratterall. Urias coming in.
pinch runner is the guy who ended game 4, Brett Phillips, with that base hit into right center field on Jansen. The pinch hitter is Yandy Diaz, who swung the bat well in this series, batting for G-Man Choi. And because of the rule,
Dave Roberts is hoping this is the one batter he faces this inning, because the next batter on deck, of course, has caused all the problems.
That's a Rosarena. Strike 1. This has been a game of a couple of quick hooks. I'm not talking about curveballs. Tying run at first. Phillips, great speed. Strike 2. Good swing by Diaz, but now he's set up.
Urias has a gift. His arm is a gift, but his pulse is a gift too. He doesn't get carried away for a young player in any situation that I have seen up so far. That is 2 combinations of why you can trust him in a lot of situations Dave Roberts is putting him.
Phillips gets a walking lead across the plate. Stole 6 bases, 6 out of 7. Started the season with Kansas City. Mentioned it after he won the game on Saturday when the deal was made at the trade deadline. He knew he would find his way into World Series history as that misses up and away for a ball to Yandy Diaz.
Yes, he's been really good with 2 strikes. One of the better hitters on the Rays with 2 strikes in the regular season and in the postseason. He's actually in the postseason been worse when he's been ahead of the count.
He's picked it up here in the World Series. 4 for 11, 7 for 35 overall. 7 for 36. Reyes comes in and slams the door on the top of the 7th. That kid is something. Gratterall loved it. Dodger fans loved it. Time to stretch. First up, Will Smith. Yandy Diaz stays in the game at first. The catcher is Perez, and that's fouled back and out of play after the pinch hitter and the pinch runner. There's Perez. And Yandy Diaz, who just struck out, looking to end the top of this inning. Fairbanks rides one up and in on Smith, who's 0 for 2.
You're right, Joe, about if the outcome stays the way it is. It'll be talked about for quite some time. And there's numbers to back it up. But those numbers over a course of 162 games have some value when you're going 30, 32 starts. But each individual start in the postseason.
This one is down into the corner. Looking fair off the wall, and Smith has a ringing leadoff double in the 7th.
Each postseason start, doesn't it? And Smith finally getting on board here with some struggling bats, but a big double to lead off the 8th.
So close to a homer. Fourth hit of this World Series for the young catcher, DHing tonight. The batter is Bellinger.
One thing these Rays bullpen, which was, again, you're going to, course of the regular season, you're not playing your regular season games kind of like the postseason they have so far. And these guys have been in so many games, a deep 7-game series, a 5-game series with the Yankees, 7-game series with the Astros, and now a 6-game series with the Dodgers. You're asking these guys to be as good as they were in the regular season without being used as much as they're being used in this condensed playoffs. They would never use these guys in the regular season like they're using them in the playoffs. So you would think there would be some wear and tear and just not as sharp. You can tell they haven't been as sharp. And the Dodgers have taken advantage of it.
1 ball, 1 strike. Runner at second, nobody out. Bellinger. But it just seems, and this is not an indictment on today's game, but even in this game tonight, managers are looking for any reason to get a guy out of the game.
Yes.
Instead of looking for the reasons to keep a guy in the game.
Correct.
Because the numbers are dictating. Two-one. Skied into left. Rosarena, late break. Out to make the play is Wendell. Runner at second, 1 out. Bellinger over 3 did not advance the runner. We'll give you a quick word from T-Mobile, the leader in 5G coverage.
T-Mobile brings you 5G BP, the first ever 5G powered stream from cameras on the field. Get closer to the game with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G coverage.
I mean, the topic of the game is third time through the lineup. What's the OPS? Well, the OPS is going to be higher. You know why it's going to be higher? Because you're not training guys to go through the lineup 3 times. So there's the answer, and the discussion can't be second guessed. That's in the regular season. Postseason, still don't buy that theory yet.
Taylor, with a runner at second, 1 out. Dodgers have 4 hits in the ballgame. They've been out-hit 5-4. Got Peterson on deck. And it was a matter of time with A.J. Pollock's spot due up after Taylor. 1-0 pitch. High fly ball to right, slicing foul. 1-1.
This is something that's changed too. You get a chance to see this in real time. And believe it or not, that's what a lot of pitching coaches will even go off of, the numbers of what those two categories say about a pitch.
Well, the Dodger hitters told you all you need to know about the pitching of Blake Snell.
Exactly.
You can throw all the numbers in the garbage. 5 1/3 innings, 1 run. He gave up a 1-out single, and he gets yanked. He had struck out 9. He had handled the top of the order. He had one of the highest OPSs in World Series history. The first 4 hitters were a combined 0 for 8 with 7 strikeouts. And that was the part of the order where the game was and the inning was in the 6th. Pitching change happened, a double by Betts, a wild pitch in there, and then a fielder's choice hit into by Seager that put the Dodgers on top with good base running by Mookie Betts. Taylor strikes out. The player down at first, 2 away.
I'm not so sure I would pitch to Jock Peterson right here.
He pinch hits for Pollock. With the number 9 hitter, Austin Barnes, who's not coming out of this game, on deck. So here comes a visit from Kyle Snyder, the pitching coach.
Still your best friend, and now your co-pilot. Still a father, but now a friend. Still an electric car, just...
Austin Barnes, who started the 2-run rally last inning, on deck. Will go after Peterson, I would imagine carefully. Hit a home run in Game 5. He's 4 for 10 in this World Series.
Better not see many fastballs.
Leadoff double. Smith is out there with 2 out. Nope. It was called low for ball 1.
It's a good breaking ball right there. Peterson's been unbelievable in the postseason. There's no rhyme or reason to determine that you were going to get this kind of success out of him based on his regular season. The Dodgers sure are glad.
Here's a 1-0.
That's got to put him on now. You can't let a 2-0 pitch. You can't get back in the count with Peterson.
And they're going to walk it. Take their chances with Austin Barnes. That, by the way, is the first walk, albeit an intentional one, handed to the Dodgers tonight by Rays pitching. And the wide-eyed, young, hard-throwing right-hander will deal with Barnes. Again, his hit chased Blake Snell. Might be an entirely different conversation if not for that one-out hit last inning. That's out of play, strike one. Said this the other night, Fairbanks pitching in a ballpark that he might have called home. Traded last year from the Rangers organization for an infielder, Nick Solak. And he can really dial it up. 6-3, 2.7 ERA in 27 games this year. Started twice. Struck out 39 in 26 and 2/3 innings. He's been good this postseason. Doesn't get the call there at 99 and the count 1-1. Barnes has had a great postseason, and he's really played himself into more at-bats. You know, responsible for catching Kershaw pretty much, and that's it. Well, postseason, he hit 318 coming into this game. And they've added Walker Buehler to his list also now. And tonight, I mean, he's in there with Will Smith DHing. I think they, at this point, late in the World Series, they want his presence behind home plate. Yeah. The other catcher's the DH. He's out at second base. Barnes trying to bring him home. That's strike two. He didn't get the one on the corner. He got the one that you don't really want to throw, but also hard to hit. Nope. Good pitch and a good take by Barnes. 2-2. We've mentioned it, so we're blue in the face about how good 2 outs, 2 strikes the Dodgers have been. This would be a backbreaker if they're able to squeeze another run here in what has been hard to score runs in this kind of game. 59 of the 100 runs scored by the Dodgers this postseason have come with 2 outs. Smith's doing his part. He can go on any attempt to swing the bat. He's going to go. 2 outs. A good bat here by Barnes. See, the reason Barnes is kind of a tough guy to pitch to, he's not one that's concerned about making a big swing, right? He's not trying to take the velocity and catch up to it with a bigger swing. He's trying to be as quick as he can to the fastball, fight it off, maybe get a breaking ball that hangs in the middle of the plate, and then that does him that gives him a better chance for a successful hit. A fly ball into shallow right. Out goes the second baseman, and Lau has it to win the inning. Good job by Fairbanks to get around the leadoff double by Will Smith. The big man, Randy Arozarena, will lead it off. In the defensive changes, Dodgers put on their ticket. Back for Austin Meadows, who was 1 for 3. Looked like a changeup. Here is Rios, fresh into the game. There's a strike, 2 out. Only 5 pitches this inning so far for Urias, and 9 as he's picked up 3 outs, and he's got 2 out, nobody on here in the 8th. Remember, he pitched the last 3 innings in a 1-run ball game, 4-3, in the NLCS Game 7 to close it down. With question marks at the back end of their bullpen, the Dodgers very well could do it again. Nope. That's a ball to Brandon Lau. From the young left-hander. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Just comes out smooth, and the hitter can't see it, especially left on left. I mentioned those 3 home runs Brandon Lau hit. They were all to left center, left field.
Can you imagine Julio Urias' father, Carlos, watching in Mexico, his first coach, hanging on with every pitch here tonight with his 24-year-old in the 8th inning of Game 6 with the Dodgers trying to end the World Series and win their first championship in 32 years. Good swing by Lau, but couldn't catch up. Still 1-2. Strikeout. And the Dodgers are 3 defensive outs away from a World Series title. They bat in the 8th, leading by 1.
You're all I need to get by.
inning for the Dodgers against Fairbanks. Takes a strike.
So that moment, and a moment that many people might forget. Floro coming in with first and second, 2 outs to face Arozarena. In what seemed like early in the game. Got him out.
That's out of play, and he started a procession out of the pen. Alex Wood, 2 perfect innings with 3 strikeouts. Baez, 2/3, 1 hit. And so far, that's one of just 2 hits against this Dodger bullpen. Gratterall gave up a 2-out hit, and Arias has faced 4, retired 4. Rays hitters have struck out 14 times in the ballgame. Here's the 0-2 to Betts. High fly ball left center. Back in the wall, and it's gone. Betts. It's made it 3-1. Dodgers here in the 8th inning. Mookie with a blast into left center field. Wow. During the year, he hit over 100 points higher, right-handed versus left-handed. 16 home runs off of right-handers. Didn't hit a home run against a left-hander. Tom talked about it earlier about what his slugging percentage, and wow, is that the timely home run for the Dodgers. It gives a little breathing room to Urias, who is clearly going back out there. There are a lot of Dodger fans in attendance tonight, and they are feeling it now. Ball 1 to Corey Seager.
And I will say this, Joe, in fairness, there's going to be a lot of talk about the move, no doubt, for the Rays, but it is really difficult to win a game 1-0. The Rays offense has been held down in check for most of this series. And you got to give the Dodgers credit in their bullpen. It was a short outing by Gonsolin.
1 ball, 1 strike on Seager, and for a manager in Dave Roberts, who's in his 5th year, managing in his 3rd World Series, he has showed a masterful touch, especially in games 5 and 6, with using those guys out of the pen. And now his team needs 3 defensive outs, and he's got the electrifying Julio Urias in the ballgame to get them, to give the Dodgers their first championship in 32 years.
And you know what? I could probably say 3 years ago, maybe this scenario doesn't play out. And they used moves 3 years ago that would have been by the book that didn't work out. And I think Dave has, along with his staff, recognized a couple things as the postseason's gone on to trust a guy like Urias to finish the game.
There isn't anybody that has met Dave Roberts that doesn't love his company. He is one of the nicest people that you can come across in Major League Baseball. He was a scrappy player. He stole that big base in Game 4, the 2004 ALCS for Boston on their way to a championship. Made a lot of moves. Some have worked. Some certainly have not over these years in the postseason. But as I said about Kevin Cash, Dave Roberts is a big reason why the Dodgers are here, why they lead by game, and why they lead Game 6 by 2 with the job he's done with his pen. "3-2 to Seager is high. Ball was scorched.
Breaking ball, middle.
He knew it.
Did a game earlier in the year with Dave Roberts, something he said when we got a chance to talk to him that totally makes sense now. He said in the beginning of the year, with all that's going on in the world, all that's going on with the adjustments players had to make, he told his players, I don't want to hear anybody complain. Don't complain. We want everybody pulling in the right direction. We've got a really good team. And that positive attitude that he has, that you're talking about, has meant a lot in this year of all years because of the strangeness to it and the adjustments everyone has had to make. Everybody's talked about continuity getting through 2020 and the pandemic, and there's plenty of continuity, not just with Dave Roberts and this staff, but with this lineup and the pitching staff. Here's Kike Hernandez, his first at bat, pulls back from a ball upstairs. Hernandez hitting in the number 3 spot. Still no word on if something happened injury-wise to Justin Turner, but this would be his spot. Taken out of the ball game in the top of this frame. More than likely the last hitter that Fairbanks will face. Here is an 0-1 pitch. Foul back here. Now Yarbrough is getting ready with Muncy, the next man to the plate. Oh, 2. Yarbrough started in game 4 on Saturday. Went 3 1/3. 2 runs on 5 hits. Leadoff home run by Betts. It's a 3-1 ball game. Runner at first. Nobody out after the walk. Kike Hernandez strikes out. And here comes Kevin Cash. 1 on, 1 out. Muncy coming up. Yarbrough coming in to pitch here in the 8th inning of Game 6.
pitchers tonight. From Floro to Wood, Baez, Victor Gonzalez with an inning and a third, 3 strikeouts. Gratterall got 2 outs. And now it's Julio Urias, who took over in the 7th. He's retired all 4 hitters he's faced. That bullpen, after the Rays got a run in the first inning, Gonsolin did well to get out of further damage in the first. The bullpen has helped the Dodgers in it. Now it's 3-1 LA. As Ryan Yarbrough takes over with 1 on, 1 out in the 8th. Max Muncy 0 for 3. Max Muncy's been great in the World Series, along with Seager and Turner, really. I just look at our score sheet and I go, wow. Mookie Betts struck out twice, then he gets a double and a homer. Corey Seager struck out twice. He gets that fielder's choice game-winning, to this point, RBI and a walk. That's the difference. Really, for the most part, somehow, some way, those guys have found their way into it. Might be 2. Lau starts it. And it is turned by Wendell to end the 8th. A run in the frame on the home run by Mookie. Here in the 9th inning. Margot, Wendell, and Adames against Julio Urias. Who fires a strike.
That's all he's been doing. He has been in command of the strike zone. He's fearless. And like I said, you got to have a slow heartbeat. It's not like he's done this a ton of times. He does have some saves. Oh, outside. Ball and a strike. But now, the Rays have to get somebody on to make at least the nerves a little unsettled to bring the tying run to the plate. And since the first, it hasn't been. The Rays have had zero chances for the most part. And strike two. We'll give you a quick word from Gatorade. That was quick. No locks. On Game 6 of the World Series. The Dodgers leading 3-1. Here comes a 1-2 to Margot. It'll pop up into right. Mookie Betts is there. The first-year Dodger has out number one. Now, what you can't do here, Joe, and I'm sure he's not, you can't count outs. When you've been on the stage as many times as the Dodgers have, and as close as they've come, you can't count outs. This is the only batter you think matters. And then you go from there. And that batter is Mike Brasso off the bench. This game has already tied the record for strikeouts in a 9-inning game, if that's what it is. In the end, 25 strikeouts we've seen here tonight by these two teams. Brasso has swung the bat very well this postseason. Well, takes the ball. He is a tough at bat, and if you don't believe me, ask Aroldis Chapman. Yeah, it's the bat of his life. Phillips had the moment of his life. Now the Rays are hoping they have one more moment to keep this series going. So much horsepower in the bullpen that they have. Good rip, but wouldn't it be a little ironic that ended up costing them in the end?
Rays couldn't wait to get to their bullpen. One-run charge to the starter, Blake Snell, who was outstanding, and one to Nick Anderson, who came in, allowed a double to Mookie Betts. The wheels started turning. 1-1 to Brasso. Strike two. One-two pitch. It is high and tight.
Oh, what a great take. After seeing velocity and then spinning a breaking ball up there, this would have been real easy to come out of your shoes right here, but a great take.
Brasso gives nothing away. Undrafted, trying to give the Rays a chance. Down by two. Urias. Looking two out. Urias, calm, cool, and collected, has retired all six he's faced. Two best teams in baseball meet in the most unpredictable format that we've seen in a long time. One of these teams will have won a great World Series. Strike one on Willy Adames. I don't think I've ever done a Major League Baseball game and not thought of my dad.
but it's impossible to not think of the 92-year-old Vin Scully, the greatest to ever do it. Started with the Dodgers in 1950, retired 4 years ago. Back is strike two. 67 years of his life he poured into the Dodger organization, and you know he's watching and rooting. Ownership, Andrew Friedman, Dave Roberts. And strike three. Dodgers have won it all in 2020. John, the Dodgers just showed too many ways that they can beat you in this series. Power, speed, defense, clutch hitting, big-time pitching. Dave Roberts pulling the strings and making right call after right call out of the bullpen. Over the last 32 years, the Dodgers have knocked at the door for this a few times. This year, they kicked it in. You know, it's amazing. They were down 3-1 to the Braves. They played flawless baseball from that point on, and almost flawless baseball in the World Series. This is a elite team, a team that had a lot of hurdles and a ton of pressure on them. These are two different teams got here two different ways. Two great teams representing their cities. The Dodgers had the weight of the world on them, and I'm telling you right now, there is a relief that you cannot understand until you've been there, done that, and they have answered a lot of those questions. How can you not focus on that man, Dave Roberts, and Clayton Kershaw in the middle of that celebration? Austin Barnes wisely tucks that ball into his back pocket. And there, the future Hall of Famer's got a ring. This was, I mean, the pitchers had a field day today. You feel for Blake Snell, he pitched the game of his life, but the Dodgers just too much in the end. And for the Rays, they're not going anywhere. We'll see them in the postseason for years to come. But this year belongs to the Dodgers as they win their 7th championship in franchise history. They won one in Brooklyn. And now they've got their 6th since moving to Los Angeles in 1958. Let's go down to the field and check in with Tom Verducci.
Thanks, Joe. Mookie Betts, you signed here for 12 years with a team that had not won in 32 years. When did you believe that this would be the year, your first year in LA?
I mean, from day one, you know, these guys have been in the postseason so many times, and I just came to be a part of it, and I'm just happy I can contribute.
In the 6th inning, Blake Blake Snell is taken out of the game. He had gotten you twice. Nick Anderson came in. Tell me about that change Ray's made for that event.
I mean, I'm not exactly sure why. I'm not going to ask any questions. But he was pitching a great game. Barnesy lit off with a hit, I think, right there. And we had a chance to do something, but I made him get the change. And it seems like that's all we needed.
And finally, you in the clincher in 2018 World Series, you hit a home run. You did it again tonight. How good did that feel?
It felt amazing. I mean, I had a hope for yesterday. We're up 2-1 right there. We need to scratch across another run. You know, we're down one swing back away. I did, and Julio did his thing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now here's Ken Rosenthal.
Thanks, Tom. Austin, I saw you put the ball in your pocket. What was it like to catch the final out of the Dodgers' first World Series title since 1988?
Man, it is surreal. We worked so hard, man. We've had our hearts broken so many times. This group works so hard. It's hard to explain. It's a ton of emotion.
Did you have any idea when you got that single with one out in the sixth that you were chasing Blake Snell?
I knew all postseason long I had Mookie and Cedar behind me. Usually when you get on base for those guys, good things happen. We were scratching for on, man. They got out to an early lead, but we kept grinding.
Your bullpen tonight, Austin. Floro, Wood, Baez, Gonzalez, and finally Urias. What were they doing to be so successful?
It was just, they made their pitches, just executed, they let it get to them, they let the moment get to them. They got out to the first two innings were a grind for us. We were a little bit on our heels the whole game for the first part of the game, and those guys kept doing it. Those guys won us that game.
Austin, congratulations. Thanks very much. Joe, back to you.
Kenny, thank you. 5 straight years the Dodgers won the Rookie of the Year award, called the Jackie Robinson Award, fittingly. Karros, Piazza, Mondesi, Nomo, Hollingsworth, all those players have come and gone in Dodger uniforms without a title. And you look at the droughts, and for a franchise like the Dodgers, they wanted no part of being on this list. 32 years, that's how long it had been, since the days of Oral Hershiser, Tommy Lasorda, and all those Dodger greats. Now this team joins them as world champions for the Los Angeles Dodgers. It was an amazing ride through October. 3-1 is the final tonight. You see Dave Roberts say, "I'm so happy for you." Clayton Kershaw's got a ring just miles from where he grew up. What a World Series. What a year it has been for all. The Dodgers are on top. Studio show on the other side of the break.